set their standards a little bit low, and then XSET just like will only accept first, and then they're devastated if they don't get it. I could see that like the mentality of that might be a little bit easier on you as it kind of really depends on your personality then, right? Like if you perform better under stress, then you do want to have the kind of goal setting that XSET has, where nothing but first will do. Whereas ABC, maybe they play better when it's kind of like, yeah, we're just having a good time with each other. Let's just see what happens. So it kind of depends on their personality types more than anything, but it has worked for ABC in the past. We're not going to get the mirror. XSET.
Oh no.
This is the coward's way out.
Disappointed.
This is not the coward's way out. Okay, what this is Swapsy saying, check your egos at the door. We're going to run a composition that should win. So I think maybe ABC was anticipating the mirror, but I think XSET with the Frost Mage, Destruction Warlock, this is actually a really good matchup into Rogue Mage. But we'll have to see how they deal with the Spites. The Spites can definitely spice things up here a little bit, and Swapsy is going to be taking an outrageous amount of damage very early on. This is going to be a very explosive start here for ABC.
It wasn't 3 Spites. Asgrath didn't get his Spite down. It was only 2 Spites. There's the third one now. I think it's too little too late. So because they intercepted Asgrath midfield, he couldn't get in range to drop a Gladiator Spite. That was really good crowd control. Normally, I could start like that with a full blind. Your Warlock explodes through everything. But because they stopped the Priest from getting the Gladiator Spite down, he basically just took no damage and walks it off. Now, ABC have shown their hand that they're going to be running the Spite Trinkets, so XSET will be ready. Nixie gets stunned up. Big counter assault here. Frozen Orb down. Asgrath desperately trying to pick Nixie back up. Alongside that Vitality Conduit should be able to at this point. Alex Combustion rolling during this push, trying to find a Polymorph, gets shut down by Raikou. And that Combustion, not netting even a Life Cocoon from Chaz in this position. ABC, they could have had a strong start, but they got intercepted and shut down.
And we're going to see if they can get that next Spite going here onto Swapsy. I would assume the next Kidney Shot potentially he's going to have some Spites lobbed in here onto Swapsy. He's getting ready for it. He's already on top of the gate, and there it is. Spite, Kidney, 3 Spites right there. Can he keep him in the zone? Alec with the nice Nova, but Nixie's taking a lot of damage. He might have to use his Cloak of Shadows. Gets a pain suppression with the Feint here. Asgrath doing what he can to pick him up, but the problem is he can't really go for those Shadow Mans from the position that he is in. Raikou is there to snipe him if he tries to go for it with some Sheeps, and now he's going to try to go for the swap. He's trying to fake out the Prem. He does fake out the Prem, and he does land a full Sheep. Leg sweep onto Nixie. Big damn. He's going to Trinket, use that Cloak of Shadows. Is it going to be enough? Raikou gets another Polymorph. One last Polymorph gets shut down by Alec, and then he's going to Sheep Chaz, and now looking to retreat behind the pillar. Nixie's going to hold on, but he had to use his every man for himself. He had to use his Cloak of Shadows, and XSET is looking like they are just ready to take this game potentially soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really good. This is a super solid composition, and the problem is for ABC, they can't really retreat behind the pillar. The Frost Mage is exceptionally good at dealing with that, so they're kind of forced here in the open at this point in the game, and Nixie is just getting pummeled with snares and Frostbolts and flurries. Once again, though, every time these Spite Trinkets are out, it's going to be a little bit scary. Swapsy will be just trading out his Gateway for that one. The next one, though, should be a potential win condition here for ABC. We're going to have to see how Chaz responds to that. He is playing the Tiger's Lust, is a great option, so freeing Swapsy from some snares and roots and giving him a sprint allows him to get out of those Spite puddles, and I think that's a great adaptation and a good read from XSET. ABC just sitting behind the pillar at this point, like I said, not necessarily the best place for their team, as they are just going to be eating those Frozen Orbs and Blizzard, and it makes it really, really difficult to retreat, and that's why I like the Frost Mage in this matchup.
Full Polymorph, no Cloak of Shadows. Nixie gets Ring of Peace out of his Smoke Bomb for defense. He retreats around the pillar, likely with that Crimson Vial, trying to pick himself back up and waiting for Asgrath to get out of crowd control, but Asgrath's mana is going to be the main point for XSET. It's basically nothing. They could go for blind. Swapsy is relentless, so he can't escape from it, and it could be devastating, but they need to wait for the Gladiator Spites, and they need all 3 on the ground. So there's full blind, Spite, Spite, Spite. If they can get a sap on it. No, they disarm Nixie, and he has no way to trinket it! Beautiful timing there. Nixie tried to pre-evasion the grapple weapon, I think, but didn't hit the timing, and now another Gladiator Spite going to be going effectively wasted, and now they'll have 2 minutes to burn down, 10% remaining mana for Asgrath? It's not good for ABC.
Yeah,
you can't sap out of Spite anymore.
Yeah, that's true as well. Oh, big
Oh,
push
Nixie
on the
is just
Nixie.
dead.
Chaos Bolt. Now he got Vitality Conduit. He's got the Feint. He's actually gaining a decent amount of HP. Asgarath, very clutch there, getting that off before the crowd control, but still, his mana's not looking good. They finally got a sheep onto Chaz, but it got the spell there by swaps his imp, and Raikou is in a perfect position here, just standing between the enemy priest and the enemy rogue, just trying to make Asgard's life as miserable as possible here, spamming out the sheeps here onto Alec, and now Chaz actually getting swapped to here, but Alec was sheep throughout that swap. Safeguard gonna proc for Chaz and get stolen, and now Chaz should be able to roll back to safety.
Yeah, it looks like he will be rolling back to safety. That safeguard trinket was actually really important for Chaz to survive. Big vulnerability there that they can just swap to him. So having that trinket as a safety net, really, really important. And now you can see Asgarath, his mana is not looking good. Just 5 minutes into the game, dampening has just elapsed, and already AWC is in kind of a check position. A little bit of damage on Raikou, but I would not anticipate Raikou to go down in this matchup. His character is just so tanky. Nixie's just absolutely getting pummeled. The Mortal Coil comes in, and this is going to be it. XSET claims game number 1. We wanted to see the Rogue Mage mirrors, but honestly, I feel like XSET, this was a very intelligent pick, and that's probably Swapsy just saying, you know what, like I said, you guys got to check your ego. We're going in with a better composition, and I think this is a great first pick here from XSET.
Do you think then that we're going to see XSET just continue to play that Mage Lock throughout the rest of the series, and they're just going to continue to avoid that mirror then, Zico?
I think they're going to actually blind lock the mirror and then play Mage Lock when it's their counter pick. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think ABC has some more compositions that they could potentially run into the Mage Lock. Don't they? Who's the fourth on ABC? Is it Warwick?
Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So they could run their own Mage Warlock as well and do a Mage Lock mirror. And well, I guess if you blind lock RMP, you would be scared of that. So maybe you actually blind lock Mage Lock, and then either you go Mage Lock into Rogue Mage, or you go Mage Lock into Mage Lock. The next game could actually be a Mage Lock mirror.
Have we ever seen these two in a Mage Lock mirror?
No, not these two. I think the only Mage Lock mirror we saw was it was Burn and Jamili playing into Cloud9, and they got destroyed.
Stopped.
they that was not like that. That mirror was like the first game of the day today.
Their first mistake was trying to mirror Cloud9 on Mage Lock, probably. There. Yeah. But anyways, congrats to XSET winning that game 1 against ABC. Now it's going to be ABC's map choice here. XSET didn't opt for that mirror for game number 1, instead playing that Mage Lock. Now ABC looking to tie up this series in a 1-1. What do you think their next move here is, Sven?
Well, I think for ABC, it's unlikely we see that same matchup play out. So I would guess that we go to kind of a neutral map, and ABC will probably lock in Mage Warlock. So bring in XSET. We'll go to a neutral map, then XSET will pick Mage Lock, blind, and then ABC, I think their only option is to go for a mirror match, really. And potentially in the mirror match, the one advantage they could have is playing Fire. So if XSET locks in the Frost Mage Destruction Warlock, I think Fire Mage Destruction is actually a really good matchup into that, I believe. So ABC could potentially look to spice things up in that regard and maybe not play a straight up Frost Mirror, but try to take slight edge just based off specs.
What about the Arcane Mirror?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Don't think that's going to happen.
Lame.
What about you, Zico?
You
want to see an Arcane Mirror?
Well, I know Alec knows how to play it, so I would like to see it. You know, I'm a big fan of Arcane Mages. You know, Alec's really good at it, so, you know. Have we seen a single Arcane Mage? I don't think so, right? The entire, even like
I think we saw Volts
season.
once.
I don't think we saw anyone win.
Maybe he never made. Yeah, we say him play, but I don't think he ever won.
What about there was a team on EU, Dandy. They ran Arcane Destro, but I don't think they didn't have a great run either.
I don't remember that.
Well, if we do see a Mage Lock mirror and we're seeing one team play Fire, one team play Frost, do we feel like, what are the advantages of Frost versus Fire in a Mage Lock mirror?
Well, so I will say, based off the map being hook point, I don't think ABC is setting up for a Mage Lock mirror. I think they're just going to play Rogue Mage Priest again on a smaller map and try to just take into map advantage. But When it is fire versus frost, I would say the main advantage is greater power blast kind of forces you back to the pillar in a lot of regards. I mean, if you have two mages in the open, one's casting Frostbolt, one's casting Greater Power Blast, the Greater Power Blast is often a lot more scary, so the Frost Mage kind of has to play at the pillar, avoid damage, and go for big bursty one-shots, essentially, and setups. But for ABC, their consistent kind of poke damage with the Greater Power Blast should be stronger, but I really don't think that's what we're going to see.
We might actually see XSET blind lock Rogue Mage Priest, because if you pick RMP into Mage Lock on this map, I don't think it's that bad. I think ABC are trying to trick XSET right now to locking in Mage Lock on the smallest map possible. And I mean, if it was Cloud9, they would have just locked it in instantly, right? So XSET here, gonna see how comfortable are they actually on that Mage Lock. Are they confident enough to beat Rogue Mage, for example, on small maps? Looks like it. Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that Mistweaver pick though.
Talk about it. Why don't you like Chaz on Mistweaver?
What don't you like about it?
I think you can die on this map.
Yeah.
Compared to
I wonder
like
what
Why-
healer
I think a
ABC
Paladin,
picked.
you actually don't lose. But with a Mistweaver,
Okay.
there is a chance that you lose to Rogue Mage.
Right, ABC now going to respond to XSET's comp with their comp. Zikos thinks they're trying to bait them into something. What do you think now that we see XSET locking in their composition, Ben? What do you think they're going to maybe lock in? Do we have any more idea now?
Well, I think if ABC was going to go for a Fire Mage Mirror, they wouldn't have picked this map. Unless they were trying to bait XSET into playing Rogue Mage, which I'm not sure. I think ABC, if I had to guess, based off this map pick, is going to play Rogue Mage again, but I don't know if that would be the smartest option. However, on the smaller map, like Zico said, maybe Chaz will be a vulnerable pressure point, but I'm not really sure. I feel like the Mistweaver Monk, the one thing that's really nice about it, especially when you play with a Frost Mage, is the Mistweaver Monk is very mobile. And if you're just playing really defensive, using your positioning to just kind of slip away, it can be really difficult for Nixie to actually connect. He only has the Shadow Step, and if that gets ported or anything happens, you're basically just a sitting duck at that point. You really can't get back to your target. And yeah, I think that will likely end up happening. But yeah, I mean, it's Rogue Mage. You can never really count it out. There's always a condition to win. It's just, I think XSET, if they play it right, should have a slight edge in this one.
All right, now we see ABC locking in their composition. They are playing Rogue Mage Asgarath on the Disc Priest Subites. What do you think about this now that we see the map and both compositions for this next game?
I mean, switching Mistweaver, they already tried it in the first game. It actually came pretty close, but Chaz was wearing a safeguard, so it saved him right towards the end. But on a smaller map where he doesn't just port so far away in terms of yardage, I agree with Zico. I think that they should go after him. If Chaz switches essences, though, and runs Conflict, then I think they shouldn't do that. They should just continue the Warlock. I'm not super big fan of the Spite with a Priest healer. I feel like Spite is only good with Paladin healers because you can do the Blind Spite and then the Blinding Light Spite. But with the Priest, it's only the Blind Spite. I don't think the Warlock is going to worry about a Kidney Shot Spite unless you can somehow Polymorph Raikou, Chaz dispels it, then Polymorph Swapsy and Spite Swapsy on a random Polymorph. I just feel like the Spite never got value. Maybe they're banking on Asgarath actually being able to get to Swapsy in the opener on a small map like this. Because in that last game, if they did have 3 Spites, maybe it would have been game over. So they could still play it. They need to make sure that they get Asgarath to Swapsy without getting crowd controlled at the start.
All right, let's see if they can do just that. The gates are about to open. Rogue Mage Priest versus Mage Warlock. XSET versus ABC here. Let's see what they can do. Raikou looking to get in combat as quickly as possible. Swapsy not going to be able to find it. There's the sap. Chaz actually being the target here. Combustion being popped immediately. Raikou soaking up the meteor. Gets Dragon's Breath into another cheap shot. Into a DR sheep shot. No Garrote there though. Swapsy denies it with that nice Infernal stun there. And Chaz already procced his Safeguard in that situation. But he was able to hold on to his Everyman for himself, which is that trinket from stun. So Chaz should be kind of okay, at least for the foreseeable future. There's a lot of defense there, but Nixie had to use his cloak right there.
Yeah, that's not a bad start at all here for the side of ABC. They did get that major defensive out of the way, the Safeguard trinket, believe it or not. But Raikou did a great job sort of diffusing that situation. He immediately blinked onto Chaz to soak the meteor. and he also managed to just immediately Kleptomania spell steal the combustion, so denied a lot of the incoming damage. And now ABC, things are kind of unraveling, but the thing is, they can't just run and hide behind the pillar. The Frozen Orb, the Blizzard will just keep Nixie locked down. You can see Chaz, with Nixie just snared, it's going to be pretty easy for him to avoid. He's just using the pillar to avoid Nixie at all costs and line of sight him. Look, just you can't shadow step me. That's the game that's going on right now. And if he does get in line of sight after the kidney shot, that's when he's going to be feeling very safe. I mean, Nixie basically had no choice but to go after Raikou. And as a result, Chaz is going to be able to just say, okay, you can't shadow step to me, you can't kidney me, I'm going to be feeling fine. And I think that's a little cat and mouse game we're going to be seeing for the foreseeable future in this game.
Nice crowd control. Polymorph and Asgrath leg sweep on Nixie. Beautiful play by XSET here in game 2. Are they just going to close it out? That's a full fear. Nixie's in trouble, running away with that feint, but Ring of Peace out of the smoke bomb. They just need a couple more points of damage. They don't find it. Asgrath barely pulls Nixie back from the brink, but Alec is low on health as well. Raikou and Swapsy are dealing devastating amounts of damage here on hook points. They stun up Raikou, they go for a blast down, but Chaz and that Mistweaver isn't crowd controlled. He's easily laughing through the damage, healing them back to full health. I don't actually think they even got a life cocoon from Chaz in game 1. Curious to see if they can pull a life cocoon in game 2. Full blind on a relentless healer. You can't break out of this. Sap out of the chain. Nice crowd control here by ABC. This has to be an ice block. Is there a Master Spell? Looking to see if they get it. They get the half polymorph. Doesn't look like Asgrath's in position for a Master Spell. Alec is just trying to disrupt Chaz as much as possible, but Raikou goes back up to full. Still, an ice block for a blind is a decent trade. If they manage to repeat this multiple times, it could be a way to victory, but they need to live to that point.
Full sheep security onto Asgrath, but Swapsy gets counterspelled there on his Dark Soul Chaos Bolt. If he gets a full fear and a Chaos Bolt, it is going to be good night. He's going for it, and there it is. Big damn onto Nixie, and he is going to get one digged from that Infernal Stun. Not going to be able to use his Cloak of Shadows. Swapsy setting that up very, very nicely, and Raikou as well. Raikou actually faking out the Prem there into a full sheep onto Asgrath, into the resheep. Swapsy gets counterspelled, then he can get that fear and secure that juicy Chaos Bolt.
XSET now up 2-0 against ABC. Only need one more win to win this series in a 3-0, and that would be the second 3-0 of the day. Both of these series going pretty quickly so far. And now, ABC really feeling that pressure. They're definitely backs up against the wall here. Don't want to lose this next game. Otherwise, they lose this whole series. Now they have to pick a map choice here. Zika, what do you think? What's their next move here if they want to try and stay in the running here for this series?
I would say pick, maybe Tigers, nothing too big. Maybe Ashermans, and go Mage Lock Mirror. And just go for the, they play Frost, you play Arcane. No, I'm just kidding. Fire versus Frost. Or just try to set up a mirror. I feel like at least Warwick should have a slight edge on Swapsy. I would say Raikou and Alec pretty even. Asgrath and Chaz should be kind of even. So if they have a spec, up on the enemy team, I could see them winning a game like that. But even if they would win a Mage Lock Mirror, they could set up a small map after that on the side of XSET.
Mm-hmm. If we do see them go to a Mage Lock Mirror in this next game, in game number 3 here for this series, Ben, who do we think wins that? Is there even a clear winner with that, with these two teams, XSET versus ABC?
I think the only clear winner is us here watching the games, because that would be really exciting. No, but in all seriousness, I don't know. So it's a matchup I played up quite a bit. As the Frost Mage, I feel like doesn't feel that great going up against a Fire Mage. ABC could even, I don't know how much Asgrath's been playing as Druid, but I think Druid is actually a decent option as well. Play heavy mastery of a lot of healing. It might be an advantage against the Mistweaver Monk. Definitely something they could play around with. I haven't seen it played out at the top level that much, but just thinking about it, I think the Druid, Fire Mage, Destruction Warlock would be a good matchup into Mistweaver, basically what XSET is running. So they could try to set that up on a big map. I think the bigger the map, the better. So if they go to Tolvaron Arena, then the Fire Mage Deathstroke can just kind of sit in the open, and XSET is going to be forced at the pillar with that Frost Mage. That would kind of be a recipe for victory, I would believe. And I think that would be their best bet if it's something they put it in.
And I know before game number 2, we were debating a little bit on Chaz's choice with that Mistweaver Super Tease. Now that we've seen a game with that last game with him playing it, do we think that it's a wise choice if he were to continue on that, or that they made a good choice with him playing Mistweaver on hook point?
I mean, he still hasn't had to use Life Cocoon in 2 games. So I feel like he's looking pretty good on Mistweaver. I feel like 2 BlizzCon champion teams go head to head and you don't even have to use Life Cocoon in 2 of your wins. Like, you're probably pretty good. I think that they're fine to stay with it until it becomes an obvious problem, which I don't think it's going to be.
Ben, did you want to add something?
Well, I just think it's a nightmare for Nixie. I mean, you can go after Chaz, and sure, if you can land a kidney shot, you can do a lot of burst damage. But the problem is, for Nixie and Alec, if they don't have big damage on Raikou and Swapsy, it is so obvious. Chaz is like, okay, well, he isn't using kidney, so I wonder who he wants to use kidney on. It's probably me. I'm just going to line of sight him. And if Nixie doesn't have Shadow Step, he's not going to be able to ever get to Chaz. And even if he has Shadow Step, Chaz is just line of sighting him. So not an easy spot for ABC to be in, and I think that's why the Frost Mage is so strong. But we're going to be going to Tiger's Peak, ABC going for kind of a more neutral map, and I'm curious, are they going to lock in the Fire Mage Destro, or maybe even just go for a straight-up mirror? But I personally would like to see ABC go with the Druid Fire Destro. I think that would be their best option, but we'll see. If they lock in the Rogue Mage Priest, I'm definitely feeling a 3-0 for XSET.
I think they're setting up for the Mage Lock. It's either this map or Tiger or Ashamains that you would pick if you're trying to set up a Mage Lock. So you have picked the right map for it. I think if you're going Rogue Mage, you want to play
Rogue Mage
map.
Priest. Yeah, you're not
like if they played like Rogue Mage Pally and they picked like, I don't know, like Ruins or like one of the small maps, Blade Edge or something, I could see them getting a win like that. But on this map, unless they're playing Mage Lock with a different Mage spec, I think this is going to be a 3-0 for XSET.
Closing out soon here on ABC's comp choice. We'll soon find out if ABC is looking to mirror XSET here with Mage Lock on Tiger's Peak. Only 1 game away, 1 loss away from losing this series. And it looks like they are going to be continuing with that Rogue Mage Priest. Sid, thoughts on this? What do you think?
I think they're going to just try and go Mage all game. Blind Chaz, Sap Chaz, get a block, do it again. Blind Sap Chaz, try to get a block, and then do it again and try and win. And they're banking on the 3rd blind of the game to win, which means they have to live at least, well, maybe not exactly 6 minutes because Nixie has Ineffable True, so his blind will be slightly shorter. So they need to survive around 6 minutes and make sure that they get perfect setups on a 2-minute cycle. If they can manage to do that without dying and get perfect cycles, I think they could win. But that's gonna be really tough. Like that's a lot of hurdles to jump over against XSET.
Yeah, and do we feel like, I mean, they picked Tiger's Peak, a bit of a more neutral map here, Zico. Do we think that this is like, they went Rogue Mage, is this kind of the comp that we expected ABC to go, given that they picked Tiger's Peak, or were they trying to maybe base something else out of XSET?
I think that if you're XSET, everything the worst matchup you can get is a mirror. So it's not that bad, right? And obviously if you want to play Mage Lock, it's better to do it on, a little bit bigger maps. So I feel if you're playing the Rogue Mage Priest and you're doing it on a big map against Mage Lock, you're putting yourself in one of the worst positions that you could possibly be in. I feel like if you're on a small map, maybe you swap your healer out for a Pally, you can maybe set something up like that, or at least you're going to have a small map, you can try to kill Chaz again. I could see like some win conditions there, but on this map, I find it extremely hard to see anybody on XSET dying, really, because Chaz is going to be able to stand, on the other side of the world, channeling out those soothing mists forever.
Yeah, and if anybody, has met Swapsy, that dude is not a guy that likes to take risks. So they, I guess, have not opted to mirror ABC in this series. But we can see on our screen here, ABC, we've got some stats for them. We can see all the compositions they've played. That percentage there that you're seeing on your screen is the win rate for each comp. And that number to the right is how often they have played that comp. So we can see currently the best stat that they have in terms of win rate is 100%. But on that bottom right, composition, win rate 71%, an average dampening of 33%. If you guys remember right, earlier this season, I think it was, ABC actually either broke or tied the record of the highest dampening game. I think it was it 88 or 89%? I can't remember.
I think it was 89%, yeah.
89% dampening for ABC. Definitely a team that likes to have those super, super long games here, Ben.
I don't know if they necessarily like it, but
Like, okay, no one likes it.
They're
but
willing to embrace it. They're willing to embrace the damp when they need to. When it helps them win the game, they'll do it. But yeah, super solid team. I mean, you can take a look here, and this is why I'm a little bit surprised. If you look at their win percentage as Fire Destro, with a Mistweaver, it's 100%. Granted, there's only a 4-game sample size. With a Paladin, it's 60%. Definitely doing a really good job with that composition. So maybe they're just not feeling confident in the mirror. Maybe Walrix isn't available to them, but either way, they're going to be trying the Rogue Mage Priest once again. But for XSET, there has to be a reason why they're picking Frost Mage, Destro, Mistweaver, and that reason is likely because they feel like it's kind of a counter to Rogue Mage Priest. So they're going to be happy to take this matchup once again. Maybe AWC is going to be switching up their targeting, but I just think all 3 members of XSET, with the way they're gearing their characters, it's going to be really difficult for Nixie to stay on target, especially the fact that he's playing maximum Gushing Wounds. It makes him such a juicy target for Swapsy and Raikou to just blast all game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can tell also by the length that these teams are taking to sort of prepare themselves for this next game that these guys are really discussing the best strategy going into game number 3 here. Now we can see on our screen XSET stats: win rate of 71%, average dampening 23%, and this is a team that has just like a pretty wide range of composition, Sukatis.
I mean, they can play everything in the game. That's why they're a strong contender for the best in the world. That's why they won BlizzCon. They are not going to let a single weak link in their composition options hold them back. So they make sure they've got everything available. I think what's kind of surprising is that their win rate on Mage Lock is so bad. I feel like 40% for Mage Lock. If we looked at Cloud9's Mage Lock Monk, like it's going to be at least double the win rate, in percents. But what's crazy is they're playing so well at this matchup. That's why it's surprising. They've obviously skilled up on their Mage Lock Mistweaver over time, because they're basically making ABC look like child's play in this matchup.
And also, if you guys want to see, if you're watching from home and you're curious of what these teams are playing in terms of gear and corruption and all of those good things, you can go to awc.gcd.tv. Is there anything interesting that we could maybe take note from this series of gear that we've seen them play, or maybe that we would want to see them build their character for going into this next game here, Ben?
I don't know. I feel like for Nixie and Alec, they're both playing the standard build, playing double on use trinket for maximum burst damage, which is what they need. If they get crowd control on Chaz, they need to have the throughput, and that's why Alec and Nixie are both using Claw and the Drestagath trinket, and then of course Maledict and Claw for Alec. Lots of versatility on Alec. Nixie going with lots of Gushing Wounds. It's just kind of a standard build, quite frankly, from both these teams. The nice thing for Raikou is, in this match, if he does get trained, the way you build Frost Mage right now is just pure maximum versatility. So he has literally 100% of his corruption to boost his versatility, and he's going to be running upwards of 50% versatility in this game with Conflict and Strife. So you're not actually that scared when you get caught into a kidney shot as Raikou, as you're not going to be taking nearly as much damage as someone else.
Curious to see how they start this. Are they going to open on Chaz again? Are they just going Mage? Asgrath gets intercepted by a Seduce. Looks like it was disrupted, though. Chaz in a blind, and they are going to standard strat on the Mage, but Raikou pre-temporal shielded. He absorbs a lot of damage, and they don't get the sap. Alec trying to go for a polymorph. He's not in line of sight. He's not going to find it, and they did at least pull a life cocoon, although it was more preemptive than anything. Nixie gets stunned. He's overextended, quite deep in enemy territory right now. Asgrath trying to make his way downtown to pick him up with that Vitality Conduit. A polymorph slips through here. Is Swapsy running the Imp Dispel is going to be the next question. I believe he is in the matchup. Raikou stunned up, another polymorph. I don't think it's long enough to really provide too much pressure. Full mind control. Vitality Conduit. Can they actually cut through Vitality Conduit? Devastating amounts of damage from ABC here. And I like that they're just committing to a strategy. Go after the Mage, rinse, repeat. They do need to clean up those blinds. I was talking about it at the start where it's a 6-minute cycle. If they nail every blind, well, they kind of just drop the first ball on that first blind. So it basically adds another 2 minutes they need to survive with these setups.
Yeah, and we're going to see if they are able to do that. Right now, Chaz in a polymorph. He's going to come out. Raikou is going to gate to safety. Chaz actually gets insta-locked there by Alec. Alec looking to try to take Raikou down here, but Tiger's Lust actually usable while you're kicked as a monk. So that's going to allow Raikou to sprint to safety. And then when that lockout fades, Chaz should have no problem keeping his mage alive. And now Nixie, line of sighting Asgarath, putting him in a difficult spot. But Asgarath actually countering here with a nice double fear. Raikou, though, does get the life cocoon before that fear comes through. Raikou going to be sitting very, very comfortably. Now he gets a sheep here onto Asgarath. No premonition, but preemptive barrier, preemptive pain suppression should be enough to keep Nixie alive here. I don't know if I like this trade, though. Nixie could have just cloaked here, I feel like, or maybe just try to use the barrier to his advantage. Using pain suppression that early, it's going to be a big cooldown here for XSET. Raikou knows he's about to get kidney shot any second, so he's trying to get some distance between him and Nixie. He wants to try to use a cooldown to get to him, and there it is. Sprint, kidney shot, smoke bomb comes through, blind onto Chaz. Raikou immediately going to ice block. Nixie looking for the restealth, vanishes, goes for the sap here. Do they have the master spell though? Asgarath looking to get in position. He does get the master spell. Raikou in a lot of trouble here. Do they have a DR fear? DR sap comes through. Asgarath looking for a fear, but he gets feared himself. He does break out of it, and there's the full fear onto Chaz, but it does get dispelled by Swapsy's in, and Raikou is going to survive. So not a bad push though by ABC. They do get the ice block.
Yeah, getting the ice block, obviously very important. Raikou just going to be continuing to kite across the map, getting the Tiger's Lust here from Chaz, just making it a nightmare for Nixie to reconnect, and they will get the Cloak of Shadows. This is big. Now, Asgarath, if he gets caught in any crowd control, if Swapsy and Raikou have their Obsidian Claws available, it's going to be lights out for Nixie, but Raikou has to survive. Temporal Shield, Life Cocoon, more than enough to keep him alive throughout this go. And I mean, Chaz doing a great job so far. Swapsy setting up good pressure for his team, but it's just going to take one more crowd control. Nixie has no Vanish. He has no Cloak of Shadows. If Asgarath gets caught in a Polymorph, he gets caught in a Fear, it could just be the game.
Oh, counterspell soaked there, but Chaos Bolts are flying in. Massive Chaos Bolts, double leg sweep. Nixie pre-feints it, but it may not be enough. If Swapsy finds a third Chaos Bolt, you are absolutely... The Dragon's Breath, it's not enough. Raikou snipes him with an Ice Lance. ABC put up a valiant effort in Game 3, but XSET closed out the series 3-0.
Another quick series that ended in a 3-0 for today. XSET 3-0ing ABC. Not an easy task to do, especially from former BlizzCon champions ABC. What exactly happened there in that game, Zico? That was such a quick game. Where was that turning moment for XSET?